Annyeong. Well, sorry for the bad pronunciation, but this is how South Koreans greet each other, like hi or hello. And nearly 3 years after its launch, we are again saying hello with the Kia Seltos. But hey, there comes a point that how did Kia manage to sell this car at such a success rate that it is one of the best-selling SUVs in the country? Well, whenever I think of this question, there's a thought that pops inside my head, and that says, first impression is the last. Kia Seltos has been one of the most popular SUVs in the country, and I think the three factors depend on its success, and those are the design, the features, and the pricing of this car. Today I have with me is the Kia Seltos diesel automatic, and I won't be doing the review alone, but I have to invite my teammates Shipranshu and Karan, who mostly stays behind the camera. So let's welcome them. Now let's start the review, but before we go, please subscribe to 91 Wheels and press the bell notification so you never ever miss any updates. The ventilated seats. Are we starting about the features? Well, to be honest, the temperature right now it is 35 degrees and it feels like 50, and the sun is scorching all the heat, from the soul. But I have to say that this ventilated seat features is keeping me calm during the shoot. So let's not waste any further time and let's start with the drive and experience what the Kia Seltos has to offer and why it is a successful product even after 3 years of its launch. So let's hop into the drive. The Kia Seltos is offered in 3 engine options, and the one I am driving right now is the 1.5 litre diesel with a 6-speed automatic. I have had this car for a little over than 5 days and I have completed more than 1100 kilometers. So I know that you must have watched a couple of videos regarding the engine and how it performed. So let me start with the ride and handling of this car. And a lot of owners and the people who have driven the Kia Seltos have this common point of saying that it has a stiffer suspension, and I agree with that because I have a short story to actually share. So I was driving on the highways and I have to tell I was under the speed limit. I was doing 80-85 km per hour, and all of a sudden this rough patch appears, and I have to say that this car really handled the bad roads extremely well. There was no discomfort to the rear passengers or to the front one, and I, being the driver, was actually driving the car at the similar speed between 80 to 85 over the rough patch, and actually it served me really well. However, there's a slight you can say that con of having a stiffer suspension on Indian roads, and that is if you're driving it at city speeds, let's say 30 to 40, and you encounter a speed breaker or a rough patch per se, then you really will feel that bump and it will cause discomfort to the passenger sitting inside. What you can do is really slow down your car, like keep the speeds under 20 and just pass on that speed breaker so that the speed breaker or the rough patches of road do not cause any discomfort to you. However, on the positive side, there has to be a positive side of the stiffer suspension. The second positive of having the stiffer suspension is how the car performs dynamically well. Even on the sharp corners, even you are at higher speeds, the Seltos performs extremely well. Now, talking about the handling of this car, so if you are spending close to 18 to 20 lakh on road with the Kia Seltos, and this is the diesel automatic that I'm driving, then with the steering you actually want something that it gives you confidence on the highways, and at city speed it should be light. You don't have to struggle, you don't have to work out with your arms, because for that you can go to the gym, right? So at 3-point turns, the Kia Seltos really gives me confidence, and I can easily park in tight spots with no hassle. And on the highways, when I'm doing triple digits, this car actually gives me confidence. The steering has that response that the drivers want, and the car fulfills the need of the driver. So enough about the ride and handling. Let's now talk about how the rear seat passenger Shipranshu feels, and then we'll come over to Karan, who mostly stays behind the camera. So let's talk about the rear seat passenger and see how he feels about the Kia Seltos.
Well, if we talk about rear seat comfort, it's pretty comfortable. The leatherette seats are nice looking and they give good comfort. The cushioning is very good. The rear seat passenger will enjoy in the Seltos. The leg space is sufficient. The shoulder room is sufficient. I have sun blinds here to protect me from sun. I have a fast charging USB port, smart AQI air purifier. So in terms of features, the Kia Seltos is pegged, and the armrest in the rear seat comes with large cup holders to keep my drinks. And Kia has taken care of every aspect for the rear seat passenger. They have taken care of comfort, features and everything. So I'm happy here and there is nothing to complain about.
Alright, so when it comes to the passenger side, let me talk about the first impressions. The GT line comes with an all black theme and I'm quite impressed. It is really appealing and it really does look premium. However, getting into the car in peak summer could be bothersome, but then again I have ventilated and cooled seats which do keep my backside happy. And now let's move on to the space I have to keep my knickknacks. The bottle holders is quite large. I can hold a 1 liter bottle along with a large power bank as well. So overall, I feel in terms of practicality, the Seltos really has nailed it. And another point I would like to mention is the Bose premium sound system. I wouldn't say it is the best in the business, but it really is good and it makes all your journeys that much more fun. Now, while I haven't driven the vehicle, let me talk about the suspension. As a passenger, I've been quite comfortable throughout the ride. At higher speeds, over bumps, it's comfortable, but it does get a little uncomfortable when you go over speed bumps and rough roads at slower speeds. And on the flip side, the suspension is well tuned, so when the driver does decide to get frisky or drive faster on highways, the car feels stable and is confidence inspiring even to the passengers. Now coming back to the comfort, the seats are well bolstered and they are quite well cushioned as well. When the driver is driving fast and he's taking corners at faster speeds, it holds me in place and over long distance. I'm comfortable, I am happy. No matter the distance, the passenger will remain comfortable.
Now, before hopping on to how the Kia Seltos drives and its refinement level, I should talk about some of the nifty features that is actually very useful to new drivers, or it spoils even the expert drivers. First up is the 360-degree camera. Now, if you're parking the Kia Seltos, parking the SUV that measures nearly 4.3 meters, and parking can be a problem for some of the people, but with the 360-degree camera, Kia Seltos has got it covered. Another feature that actually helps you in the parking is this alert system that alerts the sensors on the Kia Seltos, be it the front or the rear. So whenever anything is closer by, it actually puts on a beep sound. That can be irritating to some of the drivers, but then again, as I said, for new drivers, it is really a handy feature. The third feature I want to talk about is the blind spot monitoring system. So if in turn I forget to check the outside rear view mirror, and if I turn on the left indicator, I can see that what's behind me, and it works for the left as well as the right indicators. So I feel that Kia Seltos really cover up for the new drivers, as well as, like I said before, it spoils the expert drivers too. Another feature that I forgot to mention was this heads-up display that will keep the new drivers happy. It displays the information of the speedometer so that they don't have to take their eyes off the road. And I feel that this heads-up display will keep them safe. Now, finally, let's talk about the engine, the gearbox, and how it feels to drive out in the city and open roads. Now let's talk about the engine of the Kia Seltos. This one gets a 1.5 litre turbocharged diesel engine that churns out 113 bhp with 250 Newton meters of peak torque. It gets a 6-speed manual, but right now I'm driving the 6-speed automatic gearbox, and first things first, I have to say that I have driven this car more than 1000 kilometers now, but the engine is so refined that there's no noise in the cabin. There's no vibration, there's no harshness, and you see, even after driving so many kilometers in this short review, I have to say that the one thing that I love is how refined the engine is. There's a bit of a noise from the motor, but then if you are someone who likes to drive with a light right foot, I think the Kia Seltos will pamper you a lot. Now, talking about the gearbox, it's actually pretty smart. Out on the highways, when you want to overtake, you have no hesitation. You just put in the throttle hard, and yes, the Kia Seltos gives you that confidence so that you can overtake the other vehicles out on the highways. Now, talking about how it drives in the city, well, I have to say that the gear shifts happen around 1900 rpm when you are driving in the normal mode. It also has 3 modes: normal, eco, and the sport mode. At sport mode, the throttle input is quite harder and the gear shifts happen at 2100 rpm with a light right foot. Else, this diesel engine's red lines up till 5000 rpms, and that is pretty good for a diesel motor. It also gets traction control modes for snow, sand and mud, but let me tell you that this feature is only available in the top of the line GT line variants. Coming to the mileage of the Kia Seltos Diesel 80, the ARI claimed mileage is 18 km per litre, but if you're driving with a light right foot, it actually delivers more than that sometimes. In city, it will deliver you around 15-16, but out on the highways, when you stretch the car and you're driving with a sedate mode, I actually achieved 19.5 for the overall trip of my 1000+ kilometers. So I think Kia Seltos really passes on with the mileage too. So this was about the engine and gearbox, and overall the power as well as torque figures on paper seems less. However, when you are behind the wheel, Kia Seltos really impresses you with its performance. Now, that was about the performance of the Kia Seltos, but what about the braking? Well, if you're traveling at triple digits and if you brake hard like we have done right now, I think it stops pretty quickly. I mostly drove the Kia Seltos in the normal as well as the eco mode. However, if you are someone who wants to drive like a really hardcore, like you're very enthusiastic about the Kia Seltos, then yes, the paddle shifters will really come in handy. All you need to do is drop down the gear and then off you go and overtake any vehicle that you want or just show off. This is a feature that I didn't use much, but yes, if you want to take control of the car manually, then yes, paddle shifter really helps. So this was all about the Kia Seltos and why we think that nearly after 3 years of its launch, it's such a stellar product. Will you pick this SUV over its rival? Do tell us in the comment section below. I am your host Jatin, signing off.